that was on cloud-based security problems with we identified with certain nuances with platform as a service, where end users or developers can go and take down code or take code from community repositories, and no one really examines that code.
When you mean platform as a service, are we talking the standard OpenShift, Cloud Foundry, that kind of stuff?
Actually, OpenShift was an example we used. Yeah.
So OpenShift is vulnerable today?
So not necessarily vulnerable. There's not a vulnerability in OpenShift.
Okay.
But the way the services are sold and the way the services are marketed as you don't have to worry about security.
Right.
We identified that if you go and you go to the OpenShift GitHub repository, and you say, well, I'm going to install WordPress. You go to the repository, they have quick starts that allow you to download WordPress. Well, the versions of WordPress and the version of Joomla, the version of Ruby on Rails is all outdated versions.
Really?
Which have a handful of CDs associated with them. That was one instance, and then we also found that no one really polices this. No one really polices the basically who audits this code. So we basically put together a scenario where myself and my co-presenter, Steve Osepik, I played the boss and told him, we need to get a chat server up by 3 o'clock today. Go. And so he basically went live on stage, went to GitHub, found a tech support application, basically logged into his account on OpenShift, downloaded the code, basically installed it, got it running in the cloud, and then we had people actually logging in the audience and utilizing it, but it was actually code that we planted in GitHub that had a fake vulnerability in it that we were able to basically hit a button and it does like a web shell. And so we wanted to show that if that action really was to happen, where the person's under pressure, you have to get this up and running really, really quick, and they go and they just grab this cartridge or this cloud community application. They don't look at the code; they just go install it, and now it's in production 2 hours later.
Now, with OpenShift, because I know you've got to be crystal clear, there's 3 variants, right? There's OpenShift Origin, OpenShift Enterprise, and then OpenShift Online. So this was just OpenShift Online, the free version.
It was the free version, So we're testing that out. You could upgrade it, and you could have like custom URLs and things like that. But this was, literally, in the demo, he was from start to finish. It took less than 10 minutes of getting this up and running. And basically, he didn't have to code. He just copy and pasted the instructions that were in GitHub. So we want to show that this is where they're being marketed. This is what's being marketed towards individuals who may not even have the ability to review code or be able to see if there's a problem. They just go and they cut and paste and they go up and go. It's like almost like you're downloading an app on your iPhone.
Yeah, sure.
I need this application up and running. I need to create a blog. So you go and you download the code, and you install it, and you're up and running. And then you tweak it and configure it. But you don't know what it's doing. You don't know if there's vulnerabilities. You don't know if there's backdoors.
So with the Red Hat guys, because I know them reasonably well in the spirit of full disclosure, I also know that they do a lot of backpatching, whether it's kernel or whatever. Should there be some kind of scanning in there? And did you verify that there wasn't? Well, I guess in your case, you just uploaded code. There's no question. There's no opportunity for them to backport anything.
No. So we were focusing at the really at the application layer. We were basically taking the assumption that we're just like anybody else would, that Red Hat's doing the right thing at the OS level. The rest of the stack is being taken care of. We were focusing on this is what we have control over as using a platform as a service. This is what we can touch. This is what we can do. And these are the bad things that can happen when we're not doing. We're just going through the motions that these kind of services recommend.
Now, would the same experience have been the equivalent if I was using, say, Staccato, Cloud Foundry, or one of the other public PaaS services today? Yeah,
possibly. Yeah, we just basically we weren't picking on OpenShift and Red Hat. It was basically this was a free, easy. Took 5 minutes to get an account, 10 minutes to get up and running, and we did this horrible thing to our business.
Yeah. That's exciting. And then from a disclosure perspective, because you are a respectable company, of course, did you disclose any of this back up to Red Hat and the other communities that you may have touched to say, this is an issue, you should do it? Or is this just a process thing and is not, a CVE level
It's not a CVE, right? So it's a process thing. It definitely is a process thing. It's more of awareness. And it's something really they can't control, right? They have no control over this because anybody, like we did, anybody can go and write your own software that can run on their platform. Like I can go and download the latest version of Joomla, backdoor it, package it, make a cartridge of it, throw it up in GitHub, and say this is OpenShift-Joomla. And they have no control over it. This is out of their control. This is similar to a problem like like Google Android has with third-party stores.
Sure.
They can't control what's going on in the third-party stores at all. And so people are pointing malware there, and then end users are saying, I want to download it from this other store.
Right.
Getting malware. Google has no control over that.
Sure.
So
is the solution then some kind of lockdown verified store, or some kind of keys for each developer so that things can be revoked if there's a challenge?
I mean, I think an official store where there's a subset of packages. So the popular stuff, like Ruby on Rails and WordPress, those that are the subset that has been verified by some organization. Maybe it's the cloud providers. And some cloud providers do have official packages. I mean, that's pretty popular. Hosting providers, you log into your control panel, right? And you say, I want to turn on WordPress.
Yeah.
You turn that on. That came from that hosting provider.
Sure.
Presumably, it's been maintained. Presumably, it's not 5 years old. I venture to guess there's some hosting providers that have 5-year-old versions of WordPress running still. But for the most part, there's one single source you're getting it from. It's not this community where people can upload it and have all good intentions to maintain it. But they go off and do something else, and they abandon the code.
Sure. And then just argue devil's advocate. I assume PaaS, like standard Amazon almost, or even just old style web server, it's just plain vanilla. It's just that medium on which I can install whatever I want. Is that not the right way that I should be thinking of PaaS then, because there's additional expectations as a user?
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's different variations. So there may be PaaS that you basically do get access. If you have a web directory, you drop your code in there, and you're off and running. And then it's cloud-based. So that's one, and that would be sort of geared towards someone who's a little more advanced. But some of the cloud providers are starting to market towards people who have no understanding. I mean, just an example we pointed out in our presentation. When we went to go sign up on the OpenShift account, they basically had a little panel on the side that said, "What is PHP?" Here's how you learn about PHP. So we're really gearing towards people who this is their first foray into cloud-based application development, maybe application development in general. And so that's where dangerous things can happen. That happens in the other worlds where people they read a book on how to code in PHP. And then they modify their resume and they get a job as a PHP developer after reading a 400-page book.
That's great.